top bar on that, and I'll put a $sign on it. I'll copy this from this column to this column and so forth. I can put color on it. I can put graphs on it. I can do anything that your Excel expertise will let you do. And I can, with just a few minutes work, mimic that same financial report that I got out of Management Reporter. Now you only have to do this once. You don't have to do this every time because you'll probably be moving your reports from Management Reporter to ActiveReporter. So this is a once and done thing. Now you probably are looking at this and say, well, what are all of these green areas at the top and on the left-hand columns? A lot of our competition has reserved areas, but ActiveReporter does not have any reserved areas required. Remember sheet 1, we don't have any green areas here. So what are these green areas? All we're doing here is using the best features of Excel, and we're doing something called dereferencing your variables. In other words, all the variables for this number that is in G13 are stored in G1, G2, F2, A13, and B13. So if you think about it and you look at another formula here and look at its references, you'll notice that this formula right here is exactly the same as this formula, is exactly the same as this formula, is exactly the same as this formula, because all of our variables have been dereferenced to the first 3 rows and the left 3 columns. You do not have to build your spreadsheets this way. Totally optional, but we do build them this way when we do use the wizard. Now, why do we do this? One is it's an efficient way to build it, but it also makes it very extendable. Right now in G, I have the year 2017. In H, I have the year 2016. What if I want to put 2015 in column I? I can simply copy column H, paste it into column I, change this one variable of current minus 1 year to current minus 2 years, and I'm finished. So you see, you could build a 10-year financial statement with this wizard really, really fast. And even the year here at the heading changed. And I can prove that it's the right number because I can drill down and sort by posting date. And the latest posting here is in April of 2015. What if I want to put a budget in? Right now in column G, I have the current, I have the actual numbers here. I'll copy this column, I'll insert it into column H. I'll change this A actual to B budgets, and I'm done. And we can prove that it's budget information because as we expand it, you'll notice that every account ends in a B. Those are the budgetary entries for that account. And if you want a variance, we can insert a free row here, a free column, put in variance. And now we can use your Excel expertise to take this column minus this column, put it in this column. Put a percentage in. And then once you have it all decorated like you want, you will save this and you will save your container. And now next month, you'll come back into Turnkey's First Financial. You'll open it. You'll go to the workbook. You'll look at it. You'll give it the next month's date, May of 2017. And now these are the numbers for May of 2017, 16, 15, and 14, and so forth. So ActiveReporter is just Excel with added functions. And we provide the ability to put anything on any spreadsheet, or you can use the wizards, or you can use the wizards in conjunction with your Management Reporter row definitions and duplicate those financials that you currently have in Management Reporter in ActiveReporter, and then no longer use the Management Reporter reports. Okay, now that we've shown you how to build financials, you'll notice that as we built these financials, that we actually store these financials inside the database. That's so that we can have various versions. Every time I save this spreadsheet, the ActiveReporter system itself saved versioning information. If you store your spreadsheets on the Windows file system, you don't have the versioning information. The ActiveReporter does not force you to keep the Excel spreadsheets inside the database, but there are compelling reasons to do so. One is the versioning. A second reason is you always know where the authoritative copy is. It's not on Bob's desktop or John's desktop. It's always in the database. And you also can secure it much easier when it's in the database than when it's in the Windows file system. Okay, so the next topic I want to cover is trees. How does ActiveReporter work with trees and tree structures, and also dissemination of reporting? So I'm going to go to a finished financial design, one that we've already put all the lipstick on. I'm going to bring it up. And we'll look at it. I need to give it a date. Always give it a date so that the numbers will have a period reference. And the spreadsheet as shown here is a spreadsheet for the entire organization. Now I want to explain what the entire organization is by showing you a graphic. The entire organization in this particular demonstration is a set of convenience stores. There is a convenience store that is represented by divisions. There's a convenience store on 82nd Street, on 4th and Q, and North University. And these stores all report up to a manager in the Lubbock region. And then there's similar stores, 3 stores in the Midland area, reporting to a Midland general manager. Same thing in Abilene. And then these managers report up to the CFO of the organization. So there's potentially a lot of financials that we need to build and disseminate to all of these individual stores, or the regional managers, or the CFO. But in our case, there's even a second level of reporting, because there is a grocery manager and a snacks manager and a soft drinks manager. And these managers manage the individual departments over all the stores. So we need to produce financials for them also. And that's what we have here. Right now, we have a spreadsheet, a workbook that has 2 tabs on it. This has period and year-to-date totals. So here's your period of April, and here's the year-to-date. And on the second tab of this workbook, we have departmental reporting for the grocery, snacks, and soft drinks department. Now, how can we build a financial for just this one store here on 82nd Street, which is Division 0? We can do that by going into our options, and down here in the iteration limits, we can say, I want to build this just for division, and that is Division 82nd Street store. And now you'll notice as I refresh this or hit the F9 key, watch what happens right here in the cell D or E 7 or 8. When I calculate this, it repaints the screen. It is for the 82nd Street store. And now all of these numbers are specifically for that Division 000 and all departments. See if there's no departments information here. Well, because I am looking at the grocery department. If I look over here at the snacks department, it's Division 0, Department 01. And if I go back to the original tab here, then this number, all of these numbers are for that Division 0, but all my departments. Well, it would be great if that were sufficient, but that's going to take you a lot of time to build financials for all of these constituents. So we need an automated way to build these financials. And ActiveReporter has an automation engine just for this purpose. It's called a bot, or a robotic process. So now, instead of bringing up the ActiveReporter I'm sorry, instead of bringing up the Excel spreadsheet, we're going to run this robotic process and build all of these financials simultaneously. So this is the report we want to disseminate. We want to disseminate it to all the constituents. So instead of running the report and bringing up the spreadsheet, I'm going into the automation to something called a financial tree reporting bot. This financial tree reporting bot will allow us to create and disseminate all of the necessary information. We're going to use spreadsheets, but it doesn't have to be a spreadsheet. It could be a PDF file or something like that. It's just that spreadsheets sometimes are easier for people to work on. And so we're going to do this for April of 2017 using that managerial report format. You notice that I have a lot of formats here I could use, but I'm using that specific managerial format. And I want to use a specific database called the report and distribution matrix. Well, the database that all accountants are familiar with is what? An Excel spreadsheet. So over here on our desktop, we have an Excel spreadsheet that defines the reports that I want to generate. So I'm going to generate a report called the Enterprise Report. The Enterprise Report has 10 tabs on it. They're color-coded, blue tabs for the Lubbock stores, green tabs for the Midland stores, light red tabs for the Abilene stores, and then another tab at the end, which will combine everything together. And that will be the enterprise report. There will be also a report for the Lubbock manager, for the Midland manager, and for the Abilene manager. And indeed, I could put not just 4 reports, but I could put 400 reports in this spreadsheet, which is my database, which defines all the reports that I want to build. And then on the second tab, we can put our recipients. And right now, I'm going to delete these, but I can send the reports to the Lubbock General Manager, to the Midland General Manager, and to 50 or 100 more people with the various reports that I want them to have, and maybe a specific email body for it. We can even add things like an account receivable listing so that you could email your bank, so you can put arbitrary attachments along with the financials generated by ActiveReporter. So you can build this list of recipients to be however you want it, with whatever email body and email subjects that you want. So we'll save this. That's our database. That's the database that defines our matrix of users or recipients and reports. And now we're going to execute that and let that run here for about 2 or 3 or 4 minutes. And that will generate all of the reports with automation. You can go to sleep, you can go to work, you can go to lunch, you can go get your coffee, whatever. But we don't want you to go get your coffee during this presentation. So we're going to look at another copy of Activity and show you the third feature that we wanted to show you, and that is the active trial balance. Now, this active trial balance is something you have never seen before in any ERP system anywhere. I'm going to prove it to you. So here's a trial balance for the Fabricam SR company. This is not your static report that you get over here in Dynamics GP with the trial balance. It's not a smart list that sort of substitute as a trial balance. It's a real trial balance. But this trial balance has a feature that's called active, because when I make a posting in Dynamics GP, it will immediately reflect here in the active trial balance window. So I'm going to go to Dynamics GP. I'm going to create another batch so that it is unposted. And I'll save that batch. And I will put a date here. I need to put a date as of April 2017 for it to appear in this presentation of the trial balance. So I'm going to put 04/12/17. And now I'm going to make a posting into this 1102 account. I'm going to write a check on my Australia and deposit it into the UK. So I'll credit 1102, debit 1105. So down here, 000 1102 00, credit of 6666, and a debit to 000 1105 00, the same amount, and I will save this. Now, I haven't hit the save button yet because I want you to observe what happens in this area of the active trial balance when I hit the save button. I need a reference, don't I? I'll put a reference in. I'll hit the save button. And now, without me touching the keyboard, it's not like Excel where you had to hit the F9 key, but it just appeared. And that's what we mean by an active trial balance. Now, I know none of you have this problem, but sometimes I get my debits and credits confused, and I debit something when I should have credited and vice versa. Well, you can watch yourself work. So I can go back here and I can change this from 6666, and I'll say, well, I didn't mean to do that. And then I'll put a 0 here and put 6666 here and save that. And you'll notice it automatically updated the active trial balance. So you can watch yourself work. Make sure you don't make mistakes. You can watch your team work. You can watch your accounts payable department spend money and watch your bank account go down. You can watch your sales account post invoices, post customer invoices, and watch your bank deposits go up. Because this is active, it will immediately reflect the actual postings in Dynamics GP. But wait, I'm a TV salesman. That's not all. Because any number on here, if I want to research, let me find one like this, retail parts and merchandise. If I want to research any one of those numbers, here are all the postings that go into that 78,747. Just like in our other packages, you can drill back and see that $6,000 back over here in Dynamics GP. You can trace that back to the source documents in Dynamics GP. But you're not limited just to the period transactions. You can look at the beginning balance. Here are all the 572 postings that went into the beginning balance. Here are all the debits. Here are all the credits. Here's the ending balance. So you really can do effective account research with the trial balance, the active trial balance that is supplied with ActiveReporter. And it is extremely fast. Let's go down here to the university. Let's go to the financial view of the trial balance in the university. You'll notice that in this case, down in the bottom left-hand corner, there's 9,403 accounts in the chart of accounts. I'm not saying that's good, but that's a fact. And for any one of these, like this 1,000,004, I can drill down on it, see all the postings, and also drill back to Dynamics GP. Now, in order for this to work, you have to be logged in to the university company. So I would have to switch companies. But you'll notice that I have the ability to see all of my companies without logging out and logging in. I can look at the Fabricam SR company and look at its trial balance. I can go down here to the university and look at its trial balance. I could go to Fabricam and look at its trial balance. So with ActiveReporter, you do not have to log out of one company and into the other. You can see all your companies with no log out, log in. Okay, so we left our bot earlier. Our bot was generating reports and emailing them to our division managers. Now I can call up the Excel's, I can call up my Outlook, and I can look at my Excel spreadsheet that was sent to me by that bot, by that automation. Here is the Lubbock report that just was sent to me along with the Lubbock division summaries. And here is the enterprise report that was also sent to me via the bot. So here's the 82nd Street store, the departments in 82nd Street, the 4th and Q store, the departments within 4th and Q, same thing for North University and so forth. And then way over here at the end is a summary for all of the individual stores. So automation allows us to efficiently not only generate the recipient, not only generate all kinds of reports, but also disseminate those reports to the appropriate persons. Through email, you can also put it out to a file share. We are also incorporating it so that you can put it out to a SharePoint site. Any or all of the above. Well, that pretty well wraps up the ActiveReporter product, but I want to go back to my slide deck because I'm sure many of you are thinking at this point, wow, this product does so much. It's got to be very expensive. Now I'm going to dash that hope also, or that fear, because the product is sold in units of 10 GP databases, not companies, but databases. So from 1 to 10 databases with unlimited users. So you can send those spreadsheets out to your entire organization. By the way, I didn't show this, but they can drill down on those disseminated spreadsheets if they can get to the GP data. We also have, there's no licensing by user. We do all the implementation or installation assistance. It usually takes from 1 to 3 hours to install the product, depending upon how large your organization is, how many years of history you bring across, and so forth. We'll also give you 4 hours of training, and the total fee is a one-time fee of $2,500 plus an annual fee of $1,800. The first year, $4,300, and the second and subsequent years, $1,800. Now, there's two caveats denoted by the asterisk. If you're hosted on a third-party hosting system where we have to get them involved and have to open up firewalls and things like that, then we do charge an extra $750 flat fee. And if you have something called an isolated SQL, in simple terms, what this means is that your SQL server, physical piece of hardware or virtual, the piece of hardware you're running your SQL server on is not allowed to have any applications on it. Larger companies have this, smaller companies certainly don't. So this is the entire, this is the product, and this is what it will cost you. And now I would like to maybe we make it very easy, but you really need to work with your turnkey representative to get this product purchased. They will work with you to get it purchased. They'll work with you to schedule the installation and the training. With that, I would like to open it up for questions. Does anyone have any questions? And I'm afraid I don't know if I can see them.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now. I'm just curious, is there a number, is there a limited number of databases you can have, GP databases connected to your solution?
About the most that we've seen, I think, is just under 40. We've certainly talked to people in the hundreds. And in the last year, we've actually added some features for users so that you only have to put your users in one time for all 40 databases. And when you upgrade the software, it will upgrade all 40 databases simultaneously. So we've added a lot of features that make 40 databases just fairly easy. So there's really no limit, but that's about maybe 50. Now we certainly have companies that have 50 companies in a single database using a product like MEM and using a segment of the chart of account number to delineate that. We also have companies that have huge operations. There's a particular company that has about 100 fast food restaurants, and they have one spreadsheet with all 100 stores and 100 different tabs. Each one of those tabs has about 250 line items on it, and they produce that entire spreadsheet with ActiveReporter. Now, it takes about 20 minutes to generate it, but they tried with one of our competitors and they never got one store working. And after about 30 minutes, the program crashed. But you know how reliable Excel is. So Excel is not going to crash on you. Other questions, Tom?
Yeah, I got a question. Is ActiveReporter creating its own data mart, or does it sit on the GP app / SQL servers and tie right into the GP data?
We do have a data mart, but it's updated totally different than the data mart that Microsoft uses for Management Reporter. We call our data mart, and I don't like that term because that really sort of indicates that you're using a data warehouse, and this is certainly not a data warehouse. If you remember, like some of our competitors offer a data warehouse, and that warehouse is updated overnight. Well, you can't close your books and make postings if you have to wait overnight to get your postings into the data warehouse. So our database is parallel, and it's a mirror, and it's an immediate mirror of the Dynamics GP database. We don't use the same technology that Management Reporter does. They use a technology called changelog tracking that updates the database about every 1 to 3 minutes. Ours is immediate, and we use messaging with the built-in facilities of SQL Server called Service Broker. So it's a different technology than Management Reporter uses. Other questions?
Right.
I got one last question, I guess. Is there a maximum limit on the Dynamics GP database you can have?
There's not really a practical limit. Now, we did run into one case down in the Southeast that was posting somewhere around 3 or 4 million transactions per week. And they decided that it just wasn't fast enough for them. But that's a lot of data, 3 or 4 million per week. They ran a chain. I don't remember what they were running, but we work with the restaurant chain that I talked to you about a few minutes ago. They're running about 1 million per month, and that works fine.
Okay.
We also can truncate the history. So we seed our database. You get to choose where you start. So if you've been using Dynamics GP for 15 years, you really don't need to produce financials for 10 years ago. So we can truncate and start that 5 or 7 years ago, and that cuts down the volume of transactions that we have to assimilate to get our numbers onto the spreadsheets.
All right.
Other
yeah,
questions?
We're right at about 2 p.m. right now. I would definitely encourage anybody that has additional questions regarding ActiveReporter or AccountingWare or anything to please feel free to reach out to Michael Ramatowski or anybody else at Turnkey Technologies. And there's also, you can email AccountingWare directly at info@accountingware.com. So if there's not any other questions, Marvin, excellent presentation. We appreciate you coming on today.
Well, thank you, Tom. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Turnkey, for the opportunity.
You are so welcome, and we certainly enjoyed your presentation.
Yeah.
And
Nice
we
job,
love the
Marvin.
product.
Great product.
It is a great product. I promise you. We've got a lot of happy customers. Thank you again.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right. With that, we are going to hand it back over to Ian McQuaid. Ian presented for us yesterday.
All right, good afternoon. And I assume you can see my screen?
Yes.
All right, excellent. All right. Most people in these presentations have spoke about working with your data. Obviously, Marvin just did here. And I just want to take a moment to speak about protecting your data. So one of the big things that we have to take consideration is backup and recovery. So I just want to go through a few things here. I'm going to skip past my bio because I gave that yesterday. Hopefully everyone was here yesterday. And we go straight to this.